beautiful people of the internet, it is Jackie, your friendly neighborhood Hufflepuff here, and welcome back to my channel. Today in this video, I am doing part 2 of my sorting Game of Thrones characters into Hogwarts houses. If you haven't watched part 1, the link is down below in the description. I covered a lot of characters in that first video, and I'm going to be doing ones that did not make the cut in that first video here in part 2. So if you haven't watched the first video, do not come into the comments and be like, Jackie, what about so-and-so? Please go watch part 1 first and then come back to watch this video, otherwise you're gonna miss out on half the fun. Okay, so I know I said in part 1 that I think the Starks seem like a family of Gryffindors. I think most Starks would probably get sorted into Gryffindor. So you would think the Stark patriarch, Ned Stark, would not be an exception and he would be sorted into Gryffindor, but I actually kind of think that Ned Stark would have been a Hufflepuff. Don't get me wrong, Ned was brave. He did meet death very bravely and he did have courageous actions in his life. I just think he's a better fit for Hufflepuff. He was patient, he was hardworking, and above all, loyal. I think loyalty is his biggest character trait. I mean, the fact that he was willing to carry this secret about Jon's parentage, even knowing it would bring him dishonor, that just shows how much loyalty he had to his family. He falsely confessed to treason, giving up his honor, thinking that would save Sansa and Arya, and man, Ned Stark was just the definition of loyal, and that's why in my mind he was a Hufflepuff. Now, going on to Ned's eldest son, Robb. Like his dad, Ned, I think he has traits that are Gryffindor-esque and also some Hufflepuff-esque traits. However, with Robb, I would sort him into Gryffindor. Robb took on a lot of responsibility at a young age when he agreed to become king in the North. He led armies into battle, and that shows just how brave and courageous I think he really was, especially for a teenage boy. People forget how much responsibility he had at a young age. And also on the negative side, I think Robb did have some of the Gryffindor impulsiveness, such as when he broke his betrothal to marry Talissa, which obviously did not work out so well for him. But overall, I think he was a very courageous individual, very chivalrous, very daring, and he did a lot of things that other kids his age wouldn't have been able to handle. Now, moving on to Robb's former best friend, Theon Greyjoy, I firmly believe that Theon is also a Gryffindor. In my opinion, Theon is basically the Peter Pettigrew of the Game of Thrones world. Theon does have this desire for glory, especially at the beginning of the story, which is something that Gryffindors can have, and that caused him to betray Robb. However, he did later come to regret that decision, and he has tried to make amends for that since then, like when he saved Sansa. And I think the fact that he is now going to save Yara, putting his own life on the line to do so, shows that he really is brave and he really is a good person. And I think the show is going to end with redemption for Theon. So I definitely think that he is a Gryffindor, and while he may have gone dark for a while, there is definitely still hope for him. Up next, Jorah Mormont. I think he's a Hufflepuff. The thing about Jorah is I think he is a loyal person. Yes, he did sell people into slavery, which is not a nice thing to do, and just, I can't make any excuses for that. But I don't know if the show mentioned this or it was just the books. He did that because he wanted to make his wife happy, and she had very expensive taste and he could not afford to buy her the things that she wanted. So this was his solution in order to keep her happy. It was very misguided, but it did show a degree of loyalty towards her, this desire to please her at all costs. And even though he did originally intend to betray Daenerys, once he got to know her and saw what she was really like, he loved her and he would have done anything for her. He saved her life even though he could have received the pardon and gone home. And I think that shows that when he does get close to someone, he is going to be loyal to them like a Hufflepuff. Okay, the next one on this list is an absolute no-brainer for me. Missandei is 100% a Ravenclaw. Missandei knows, I don't even know how many languages. She is such an intelligent person. I think she does not receive enough credit in the fandom for how smart she is. She's probably one of the smartest people on the show. And in the books, she's even more intelligent because she is a child prodigy, so she knows as much as show Missandei does, but she's like a decade younger. I definitely was not that smart when I was 12 years old. Yeah, Missandei does have a lot of loyalty. We see that in the fact that she has stuck by Daenerys even after she was freed from slavery. She was no longer bound to Daenerys or obligated to serve Daenerys in any way, but she wanted to continue to serve Daenerys faithfully. However, I think she is just so smart, one of the smartest people on the show, and that's why I just have to put her in Ravenclaw. Up next, Greyworm. I put Greyworm in Gryffindor. Like Missandei, Greyworm has shown a lot of loyalty to Daenerys, continuing to fight for her even after he was freed from slavery and no longer obligated to serve her. However, I think he is a Gryffindor because he is definitely brave. He puts his life on the line constantly without a second thought, and there's only one thing in the whole world that he fears, which is losing Missandei. He has no problem putting himself in danger for the greater good, and I think that shows he is a true Gryffindor. Up next, another no-brainer for me, Tywin Lannister was 100% a Slytherin. He had all of the Slytherin traits. He was very clever, very cunning, very ambitious. Everything he did was to protect the House Lannister legacy. Even though Tywin Lannister was a villain and I don't think he was morally correct in his actions, I still have to respect him just because he was so smart and so wise in his political decisions. This man had a great political strategy, so I have to commend him for that. He was cruel at times, and he was willing to do ruthless things in order to achieve his goals, but he was amazingly cunning, and I feel like we need to give credit where credit was due. He was one of the greatest players in the Game of Thrones. Up next is Varys. Now, you're probably expecting me to put Varys in Slytherin, considering he is very cunning, and I put his adversary Littlefinger in Slytherin in the last video, but I think I'm actually going to put Varys in Ravenclaw. I think the reason I'm putting him there is because Varys derives his power from knowledge. He knows everything about everyone, and he has the smarts to know when to play his cards. He holds on to information until the right moment, and I think that's why I'm putting him in Ravenclaw instead of Slytherin. Also, with a Slytherin, I more so think of them as someone who wants to gain power for themselves, someone who has a lot of personal ambitions, whereas Varys, he does want to have himself in a good position, but unlike Littlefinger, he never wanted to be king himself. Littlefinger wanted all of the power for himself. He was willing to do anything as long as he could be king of the ashes. Whereas with Varys, he says that he has always cared about the people's best interest. So because of that, I didn't really want to put him in Slytherin because I don't think he is someone who is very ambitious with regards to wanting power for himself. Yeah, he has ambitions. Yeah, he's manipulative, but I think he's more the type of person who stands back and knows when to let information out and when to keep it in and uses that to his advantage, which to me is more of a Ravenclaw quality. Up next, Bronn. Bronn is definitely a Slytherin to me. This one I think was pretty easy for me. I mean, he wants his castle, goddammit, and he's gonna get it. Now, this is where the decisions started to get a little more difficult for me. Up until now, even if I was leaning towards two different houses, I felt pretty confident in my final decision. These characters I am a little more unsure of because I think they have traits from multiple different houses. First, we have Melisandre. I think I'm going to put Melisandre in Slytherin. I think Melisandre does have lofty goals, though she doesn't really want to be a super powerful person herself. She wants everyone to follow her god, R'hllor, the Lord of Light, and she is willing to sacrifice individual lives if she believes it will help her with that goal of making others believe in the Lord of Light. That is her goal in life, and she is willing to do whatever it takes to get there. Melisandre is the kind of person who thinks about the bigger picture. She has no problem sacrificing one. Okay, up next is a character that I know gets a lot of hate from the fandom, and that is Catelyn Stark. I have decided to place Catelyn Stark in Gryffindor. I know a lot of people hate Catelyn, and yeah, the way she treated Jon was really horrible, but I don't think she is as bad as people make her out to be. Yeah, she made some dumb decisions, but like I said earlier, Gryffindors can tend to be impulsive. They a lot of times do things without thinking about the repercussions. That is one of the Gryffindor character flaws, and I do think she showed that she had a lot of nerve. She did things spontaneously in things that could have been dangerous. She was willing to take a risk if there was a chance that it might come with a big reward. And I think she did show that she had a woman's kind of courage, as Brienne said. Also, other characters did respect her, even if she wasn't always right. I know Tyrion respected her a lot. This character was the hardest for me to sort, and I am still not quite sure what house I think would be a better fit for him. This character is Sandor Clegane, aka the Hound. Let's start with a process of elimination here. I don't think the Hound is a Hufflepuff. Definitely not patient, definitely not someone who cares a lot about fairness or equality. That's not his #1 priority. Nor do I think he is a Ravenclaw, because he does not seem like a very bookish person. He's not someone who is really into learning, and while I wouldn't say he's stupid, intelligence is not his biggest character trait. He is more of a warrior than a thinker. So that leaves two houses, Gryffindor and Slytherin, and I think he has characteristics of both. He definitely has bravery, definitely has courage, but like a Slytherin, he is very resourceful and he's willing to go after what he wants. He has his own best interests at heart, but he's also shown to be able to care for others and to have a loyalty to other people, even if he puts on this rough and tough persona. So I'm really struggling with deciding whether I think he is more Gryffindor and more Slytherin. I don't think he's someone who really craves a lot of power or ambition for himself. I think he just wants to get revenge on his brother and then be able to live his life peacefully. But he also takes a lot of joy from killing people, and do you just see this dilemma I'm having? What house do you think the Hound is in? Because I'm really going back and forth between these two. At the moment that I'm filming this video, I want to say Slytherin, but in 5 minutes I'll probably change my mind and go back to Gryffindor. So I don't really know. Maybe he's a Slytherin? Grifferin? I don't know. And last, but certainly not least, the greatest character in all of Game of Thrones, the closest thing the show has to a true hero, Hodor. 100% a Hufflepuff. That man carried Bran Stark on his back for years. That shows hard work and dedication right there. And he was by Bran's side until the very end, gave his life so Bran and Mira could escape. The definition of loyalty. Hodor, a true Hufflepuff king. So guys, that is it for this video. I know I did not cover every single character that's been on Game of Thrones, so if there is a character that I did not mention in this video or part 1, and you want my opinion on where I would sort them, you can ask me in the comments section. Also, if you disagreed with any of the sortings in this video, feel free to make your case in the comments section. I look forward to hearing it. Please like this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye! Bye! See you next time!